Alright guys, so here's the review of the Pagani Design Datejust Homage. So you're probably wondering why I've got two watches here. Well, this one is actually the Cadisen Datejust Homage, which I've already reviewed, which I'll leave a link to up here if you haven't seen that already. The reason I've got that here is I'm going to do a quick comparison between the two. See which one you're best getting, what the differences are, and what I personally think of them. So, one thing to mention before we get into this properly. With this Cadisen that I've got, it has actually got the 50 atmospheres waterproof on it. That's now been changed from what I've been told. It is actually now 5. So just be aware of that throughout this video. So put that down for a second and I'll quickly show the Pagani. So as you can see right off the bat, this is a bigger watch than the Cadisen. The reason I didn't order this one to begin with, and the reason I went with the Cadisen, is because I thought this would actually be too big for my wrist. This is a 41mm, whereas the Cadisen is 38. That sounds like quite a big difference, but when it actually comes to wearing it, on my 7-inch wrist, it's not too bad. I actually think the the Pagani, actually wears quite well on a 7-inch wrist. If you've got a smaller than 7-inch wrist, you're probably better going with the Cadisen. But 7 or above, I'd probably recommend the Pagani. A couple of reasons for that. Firstly, you can probably see the Cyclops on the Cadisen isn't great. It's not really magnifying very much at all, whereas the one on the Pagani is working really well. Also, I don't know if this is just the version I got and I just got unlucky, but the indices on the Cadisen aren't very well aligned. Especially if you look at the one at the 12, that's quite a long way off. No such issues on the Pagani. When it comes to the rest of the dials, there's not too many differences really, other than you've got the minutes around the outside on the Pagani, whereas you don't have that on the Cadisen. As for the actual case itself, like I say, the Pagani is bigger, but also that fluted bezel is a lot more prominent on the Pagani than it is on the Cadisen. I don't know if that's to do with the actual angle they're done on. I don't think it is. I think it is just because the Pagani is bigger. Perhaps they've gone for a slightly wider bezel. But I think I actually prefer the look of the Pagani one when it comes to that. So just put this one down for a second. Another difference, and probably the main difference other than the size, is the movement in this one. This one's actually got an NH35. So it's a far better movement than the one in the Cadisen. The movement in the Cadisen is a ST1612, whereas this, like I say, is the NH35. So it's a more reliable movement. So probably worth a little bit more based on that alone. Speaking of that movement, just take a quick look at it. So as you can see, NH35 there, with the display case back. And while we're around here as well, you can also see you've got solid end links, and we've got 100 meters water resistance claimed. In fact, that is stainless steel and obviously Pagani design. So you probably noticed as well, when I open that up, we have actually got the standard Pagani design clasp, which has got a nice bit of micro adjust in there. A little bit awkward to get to, but if you're patient, it's quite handy, nice to have. You don't actually have that on the Cadisen. On the Cadisen, you just get a butterfly clasp, so you've got no micro adjust. And while we're around here as well, there's the movement on that one. That seagull movement. So another difference with the Cadisen, it's just a pull-out crown, no screw down. Whereas the Pagani, we actually have a screw down crown. So another bonus there. And we do actually have hacking as well, because it's an NH35. And then we've got that nice side crown as well, if I can get it to focus. And then, like I say, more or less the same bracelets, both Jubilee style, just a different clasp. one thing I forgot to mention about this Pagani, to get it to fit my 7-inch wrist, I did actually have to remove every removable link. So like I say, if you've got a smaller than 7-inch wrist, this watch is probably not going to be any good for you. Because, like I say, I've taken out all the possible links I can to get it to fit my wrist. And I'll show you what that's like in a minute. So let's quickly see whether we've got sapphire crystal on this. Using the trusty Diamond Selector 2. So as you can see, yep, we've got sapphire crystal. And we have actually got it as well on that Cyclops. Quickly test out the back. And that's just mineral crystal on the back. But that's pretty standard for this kind of price range. In comparison, the Cadisen is actually the same. It's got sapphire on the front, and the Cyclops is also sapphire as well, but the back is just mineral crystal. So again, pretty similar. So now let's compare the Lume on these. Charge them both up. See what we're dealing with. I haven't actually compared these side by side. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be more or less the same, but let's see. And there we go. So, looking pretty similar. In fact, they're pretty much identical. It's looking like the Pagani's got the same kind of issue as the Cadisen. The indices appear to be lasting longer than the hands, unfortunately. So again, as with the Cadisen, I wouldn't be recommending buying this for the Lume, because as you can see, the hands aren't going to last as long, so it's not going to be a great deal of use. But with this kind of style of watch, any kind of Lume is a bonus really, so not too big a deal, not a deal breaker. So let's just put the Cadisen down and I'll show you what this is like on wrist then. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. Like I say, I was actually pleasantly surprised when I got this. It does fit nicely on my 7-inch wrist. Again, if you've got a smaller wrist though, I wouldn't be picking this one up because you're probably not going to be able to get it to fit. Because like I say, I had to take out all those removable links that were possible. But I think it does look good. I'm pretty happy with it. And because there's no issues with it like I had with the Cadisen, I'm recommending this one over that. Unless you have a smaller wrist, then you're pretty much going to have to go with the Cadisen if you want a Datejust Homage. Because the only other option is the Parnis. And that's a 39mm. But I don't have experience with that, so I can't recommend it either way. So just as a quick comparison, I'll quickly show you the Cadisen on wrist. And that's what the Cadisen looks like on wrist, just as a quick comparison. So it doesn't really wear all that much smaller, to be honest. And like I say, because of those issues, and with it being a little bit harder to get the right size as well, because there's no micro adjust, just that butterfly clasp, I'd choose the Pagani. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Something a little bit different. Let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you in the next one.